Welcome, friends, to this course on understanding absurdist drama. We are in week 4, and this is going to be lecture number 2. Today, we'll discuss Ionesco's play, The Chairs. The Chairs is a short one act play by Ionesco, which was written in the year 1951. Ionesco subtitled it Tragic Farce, which indicates that life is both a tragedy and a comedy. Tragedy because we suffer, and comedy because we have to laugh at this suffering. The play is a classic of absurdist theatre. Like the other plays of Ionesco, it also explores the existential themes of meaning and the loneliness of human existence. The play appears to be set in a room on a circular tower surrounded by stagnant water from all the sides. In the dark circular room await elderly couple. The old man and the old woman live in near isolation. The old man is 95 years old and the old woman is 94. They are caught in a repetitive, monotonous existence, remembering their past, imagining greater lives that they could have led. The old man has been a caretaker. As it appears, he is closer to his death, and before he dies, he wants to deliver his message to humanity. For this event, he has invited guests, and the couple is awaiting them. Throughout the evening, they eagerly prepare for the guests' arrival. The doorbell rings and the guests arrive. Although all these guests are invisible, nobody can see them. They greet each guest with enthusiasm. They have animated conversations with them. Although the readers are aware that these guests are nothing but the figment of the couple's imagination. Both the couple arrange chairs for these invisible guests. In fact, the entire stage is overflooded with so many chairs for those invisible guests whom no one can see. Since the old man cannot deliver his own message, he has invited an orator who would deliver the old man's message on his behalf. However, when the orator arrives, he speaks only in nonsensical gibberish, undermining the significance of long-awaited message and revealing the emptiness of the couple's hopes and, of course, of human lives. The play ends on a tragic note as the old man and the old woman, disappointed and disillusioned, decide to end their lives by jumping out of the window, leaving the room filled with empty chairs. Through this play, Ionesco suggests that life is fundamentally meaningless. Let us examine the conversation between the old man and the old woman to understand the play and its philosophical significance. Old man says, I have a message that is God's truth. I struggle. A mission, I have something to say, a message to communicate to humanity, to mankind. Old woman says, to mankind, my darling, your message? Old man says, that's true. Yes, it is true. Old man says, that's it. You are a man, you are a soldier, a general factotum. Old man says, I am not like other people. I have an ideal in life. I am perhaps gifted. As you say, I have some talent, but things are not easy for me. I have served well in my capacity as general factotum. I have always been in command of the situation honorably, though that should be enough. This conversation between the old man and the old woman is an attempt on the part of the couple to find out the purpose of life, the meaning of life. The old man and the old woman, they might represent Adam and Eve, the first couple in the Garden of Eden in heaven, who because of their disobedience were punished by God and were exiled on this earth. Ionesco himself has suggested that the old man and the old woman are Adam and Eve, two halves of humanity who love one another, find one another, who are sick and tired of loving one another, who in spite of everything cannot love one another, who cannot exist except together. The couple are inseparably together. They have been married for more than 75 years. They have no one around. They are alone, marking the existential loneliness of all human beings, of the entire humanity. We have to understand what does old age signify in the play. Epicurus has argued that old age is a time of calmness and freedom. An old man who has lived well is more fortunate than a young man. Plato, another very famous philosopher, has argued that old is a time for freedom from earthly desires. It is a time for understanding the truth of life. Perhaps this truth of life is something that the old man wants to impart to humanity, to the mankind. Perhaps this truth of life which old man has understood is something that he wants to communicate to the entire mankind. Although the couple does not inform us properly what they have done, instead they keep telling what they could have been. They keep telling about the other lives which they could have led. The old woman calls the old man a soldier. Although we know that the old man is an ordinary caretaker, she fondly calls him general factotum. The word factotum refers to an employee who does all kinds of work. Similarly, the old man throughout his life has been doing all kinds of work. In his mind, his life does not remain ordinary. Military heroism is associated with his life. How he has lived, how he has suffered, how he has matured and arrived is the message that this old man wants to deliver. Delivery of this message, according to his wife, is a sacred duty. He must reveal this message to the mankind because in her mind, the entire universe is waiting for his message. However, we must understand that there is a possibility that this couple suffers from what Sartre calls bad faith. Bad faith can be simply defined as the human tendency to deceive itself. Perhaps self-deception is unique to human animals. I don't think there are other animals who deceive themselves. Human beings not only deceive others, they also deceive themselves. You can easily understand this. Every day you decide that from tomorrow you will wake up at 6 o'clock. You set up your alarm fully knowing that you are not going to wake up. Every semester you decide that from next semester you will study harder, which you don't do. These are smaller examples of bad faith. In other words, where human beings are deceiving themselves. We know that the message that the old man is trying to deliver is perhaps not as meaningful as the old man is claiming. The old man has been living with bad faith, and the old woman has been conforming to his bad faith. They have not only been deceiving each other but also deceiving themselves. As you already know, that the old man has invited an orator to deliver his message to his audience. He has also invited a large number of people to listen to his message. Who these people are? There are men, there are women, there is a soldier, a colonel, a photo engraver, a journalist, a woman. There are many more people who are the invisible guests of this elderly couple, with whom this elderly couple indulges in animated conversations. One such conversation is about abandonment. Abandonment of the mother by the old man, and of course abandonment of the old man and the old woman by their son. Let us discuss the conversation to understand its philosophical complexities. Old woman says, "We had one son. He abandoned his parents. He was 7 years old, the age of reason. I called after him, 'My son, my child.' He did not even look back. He said to me, 'You kill all the birds. You have betrayed me. The streets are full of dying baby birds. You have betrayed me. I adored you. I believed you to be good. The streets are full of dead birds. You have torn out their eyes. Papa, Mama, you are wicked. I refuse to stay with you.'" The passage recounts their son's departure, a dramatic rejection of parents, and a painful moment of disillusionment. The son has accused the old man and the old woman of killing birds. Birds here symbolize innocence. Basically, the passage is a critique of adult morality. It symbolizes how human beings, in the process of their growth, in the process of their evolution, in the process of their progress, kill their innocence, destroy their innocence. How they betray their essential nature, which is marked by innocence. The imagery of blindness and mutilation emphasizes the cruelty of this world and its moral corruption. Although this incident reported to photo engraver by the old woman is contradicted by the old man. The old man says, No, we have never had a child. I had longed for a son. Semiramis too, we did everything, and my poor Semiramis is so maternal too." Now the question which emerges before us is, who should we trust? Should we trust the old woman who talks about her abandonment by their son? Or we should trust the old man who says they had no son? Like the old woman was abandoned by her son, the old man has abandoned his mother. He says, and I quote, "I let my mother die all alone in a ditch. She called after me, moaning feebly, 'My little child, my beloved son, don't leave me to die all alone. Stay with me. I don't have much time left. Don't worry, Mama,' I told her, 'I'll be back in a moment.' I was in a hurry. I was going to the ball to dance. I'll be back in a minute. But when I returned, she was already dead, and they had buried her deep. I broke open the grave. I searched for her. I could not find her. I know, sons always abandon their mothers, and they more or less kill their fathers. Life is like that, but I suffer from it, and the others, they don't. The old man has left his mother to die all alone. He was so much lost into his youthful frenzy that he wanted to dance, that he wanted to attend a party, that he had no time for his mother. And she died. He was not around when he returns. She was already buried. The old man now regrets what he has done when he himself has become old. He has traumatic memories of this abandonment. It is a haunting confession of an intense regret, born out of profound sense of guilt. But the old man abandoning his mother is not an instance of an individual abandoning his mother. It is symptomatic of entire humanity. Sons abandon their mother and kill their father. It is a profound reflection on the nature of human betrayal, how human beings betray each other and in the process are betrayed. Old man says, life is like that. And because life is like that, human beings suffer. Suffer with a sense of betrayal, regret, guilt, and so on. They are already old. Their time on earth is almost over. Therefore, they are thinking of death. Old man says, Your Majesty, my wife and myself have nothing more to ask of life. Our existence can come to an end in this apotheosis. Thanks be to heaven who has granted us such long and peaceful years. My life has been filled to overflowing. My mission is accomplished. I will not have lived in vain, since my message will be revealed to the world. I count on you, great master and orator. As for me, my faithful helpmeet, after our long years to labor in behalf of the progress of humanity, during which we fought the good fight, nothing remains for us but to withdraw immediately, in order to make the supreme sacrifice which no one demands of us, but which we will carry out even so. And the old woman says, yes, let us die in full glory. Let us die in order to become a legend. At least they will name a street after us. Now these remarks by the old man and the old woman are reflections upon death. What is death? Death can be defined as a withdrawal from life. This old couple has lived a long life. They are 95 and 94. They had a peaceful life, and of course they thank God for the life they have lived. But now they realize that their mission is accomplished. Their life has come to a full circle, and they have to make this supreme sacrifice. In Bible it is written, to everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. Similarly, the couple were born and they have lived, and their time for death has arrived. The old man believes his life will not be meaningless, because he would be able to pass on his message to the entire humanity, to the entire mankind through his orator. Yet, he has to make a choice whether he should allow himself to die naturally, or he should jump to his own death. Albert Camus, while talking about the problem of suicide in his book The Myth of Sisyphus, writes, living naturally is never easy. You continue making the gestures commanded by existence for many reasons, the first of which is habit. Dying voluntarily implies that you have recognized, even instinctively, the ridiculous character of that habit, the absence of any profound reason for living, the insane character of that daily agitation, and the uselessness of suffering. Perhaps the old man has understood that his life was a habit that he had. He has also understood the ridiculousness of the habits that he has performed. He has also become conscious of the uselessness of suffering that he has been experiencing. And therefore, at the end of the play, he would jump out of the window from that high tower, eventually committing suicide. What is Ionesco suggesting? In fact, Ionesco's worldview appears to be nihilistic. His world exemplifies the metaphysics of nothingness, wherein from one void of life we jump to another void of death. Both life and death are voids. Life and death are equally meaningless. Although the old man has appointed an orator to deliver his message, we know that the orator is dumb. He cannot speak more than nonsensical gibberish. Yet, the old man, through his conversations, through his monologues, or you can also call it dialogues, delivers his message. His message is a meditation upon the nature of life. Old man says, and I quote, "O my faithful helpmeet, you who have believed in me unfailingly during a whole century, who have never left me, never, alas, today at this supreme moment, the crowd pitilessly separates us. Above all, I had hoped that together we might lie with all our bones together, within the self-same skin, within the same sepulchre, and that the same worms might share our old flesh, that we might rot together." His message is clear. All human beings who are born will die. After their death, their dead bodies will rot and worms will be feasting on their dead bodies. Ionesco, in Fragments of a Journal, writes, "What is life, I may be asked. For me, life is not time. It is not this state of existence, forever escaping us, sleeping between our fingers and vanishing like a ghost as soon as you try to grasp it. For me, it must be the present, the presentness, plenitude. I have run after life so much that I have lost it." Ionesco's message is equally evident. We look for life in future, forgetting that life can be found only in the moments of present. Present is the only truth of life, of which most of the human beings are oblivious. Ionesco is suggesting that our forgetfulness of the presentness of life is due to existential and social forces. The old man says, at the supreme moment of death, the crowd pitilessly separates us. What it implies? Who are the members of this crowd who are separating one human being from the other human being? Why there is no love between one man and another man, or one woman and another woman? Ionesco has answers for that. He says, "I believe that what separates us from one another is simply society itself, or if you like, politics. This is what raises barriers between men. This is what creates misunderstanding. If I may be allowed to express myself paradoxically, I should say that true society, the authentic human community, is extra-social. a wider, deeper society, that which is revealed by our common anxieties, our desires, our secret nostalgias. No society has been able to abolish human sadness. No political system can deliver us from the pain of living, from our fear of death, our thirst for the absolute. It is a human condition that directs the social condition, not vice versa. UNESCO is clear that because of social systems in which we live, we are unable to realize our full potential. Had we freedom from society, we could have become what we would have wanted to become. We are unable to become what we want to become only because of societal norms and moral frameworks. And therefore, the possibility of human emancipation, the possibility of liberation of man is lost. Now let us move forward and discuss in detail the message of the old man. The message of old man is, I have suffered much in my life. All my life I have felt that I was suffocating. That is the message. The old man wanted someone to come and help him, that someone could have been his wife, that someone could have been his mother, that someone could have been God. It could have been anybody. But that person did not come. And the old man continued to suffer. At the final moment of his death, the old man counts on the orator. He believes after his death, the orator will deliver his message to the mankind and people will understand how heroically the old man suffered his life. But there is a grave, fatal mistake the old man is committing, and that is, he counts on others. The old man has to understand that human beings cannot rely on others for their happiness. One cannot expect happiness from other people. If you expect happiness from your father, from your mother, from your brother, sister, wife, son, daughter, you are bound to be disappointed, because the source of authentic happiness, true happiness, lies within. Sartre has famously said, and I quote, "Man can will nothing unless he has first understood that he must count on no one but himself, that he is alone, abundant on earth in the midst of his infinite responsibilities, without help, with no other aim than the ones he sets himself, with no other destiny than the one he forges for himself on this earth." Although the old man is 95-years old, yet he has not understood the meaning of life. Yet he has not understood the purpose of life. Yet he has not understood the possibilities of human freedom. He has not understood that man's existence on this earth can be compared to an exile. There is no God who can come and protect him. There is no other human being who can come and help him. He has to help himself, because man is abundant on this earth and man is all alone. And that's why his suicide is useless. His suicide is futile. His suicide is an act of bad faith. The old man and the old woman, they have committed suicide because of their bad faith, because of their self-deceptions. Their life was self-deception, and their death is also a self-deception. How do we know this? At the end of the play, when the old man and the old woman have jumped out of the window, in other words, they have committed suicide, thinking that the orator will come and deliver the message of the old man, what we hear from the orator? We hear from orator, hey, mum, ju, gu, hu, Goo, goo. What does it mean? Was this the message of the old man? And if this was the message of the old man, what does it mean? It appears to us senseless. It appears to us meaningless. And before whom this orator is delivering this message? You already know that there are no guests in the room. There are only empty chairs. So are you delivering your message to empty chairs? And even if you deliver your message to chairs filled with human beings, whether it has any relevance, whether it holds any significance, the orator tries his best to deliver the message of the old man, but because he is dumb, he cannot. He can speak only nonsensical gibberish. When he fails to explain his message orally, the orator uses the blackboard to write the message of the old man. And what he writes? Angel food, nana nunum nunum no mu vi. And then again he speaks mum mum gu gu gum mum 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 mum. All these words are nonsensical. And of course, the last word that he writes on the blackboard is similar to what we can call adieu, farewell. So what is death? Our death is farewell. Farewell to this world. Farewell to our loved ones. But is this farewell meaningful? Whether life has any meaning, whether life has any substance, whether life has any purpose, or life has that purpose which we grant to it as human beings. And that's why we have to understand that suicide of the old man is as futile as was his life. And therefore, by committing suicide, the old man has not committed anything great, anything remarkable. His suicide is no release from pain. It is just a journey from one void to another void. It is just a journey from one moment of nothingness to another moment of nothingness. So what does the play The Chairs mean? The Chairs is about an old man's desire for his lifetime wisdom to be delivered to mankind by an orator, by someone. And this reminds us of Shakespeare's famous play Hamlet, where Hamlet's dead father comes as ghost and tells Hamlet, remember me, remember me. What is the point of remembrance? Why should you be remembered? Why should you have the desire to be remembered? And whether this desire to be remembered is meaningful or meaningless. In fact, Ionesco highlights the futility of our desire for being remembered by posterity. He highlights the futility of coming to some important revelations or conclusions about life, because whatever conclusion or philosophy we arrive at, finally it has to be delivered to empty chairs. The world before us was empty. The world after us will be empty. And the emptiness of chairs in the play symbolizes the physical and metaphorical emptiness of human life. The absence of guests, whether they are small or they are as great as the emperor himself, who may symbolize power and authority, who may also symbolize God, signifies the absent presence of nothingness. The couple has believed that the presence of guest or guests will grant meaning to their lives. They search for recognition, for validation of their lives by other people, without understanding that other people cannot legitimize our lives. Richard Sechner has commented on this aspect of the play, and he writes, far from creating the existence of 32 characters on stage, Ionesco has done even better. He has created the non-existence of 32 characters. The guests are not, the emperor is not, the message is not. At the end of the play, the old man and the old woman are not. So the play is about not. The play is about nothingness. The play is about void. Ionesco is indicating that our desires for meaning in life are going to lead us to naught, to nothingness. Ionesco writes, and I quote, the subject of the play is not the message, nor the failures of life, nor the moral disaster of the two old people, but the chairs themselves. That is to say, the absence of people, the absence of emperor, the absence of God, the absence of matter, the unreality of the world, metaphysical emptiness. The theme of the play is nothingness. The invisible elements must be more and more clearly present, more and more real, until the point is reached, inadmissible, unacceptable to the reasoning mind, when the unreal elements speak and move, and nothingness can be heard, is made concrete. So, the play dramatizes, as Esselin rightly points out, the futility and failure of human existence, marked by self-delusion and emptiness of everyday conversations. Ionesco has rightly called the chairs a tragic farce. Tragic because we suffer, comic because we have to laugh at our own suffering. Thank you, friends. We'll discuss his next play in our next class.